Hello, this is Manesh Patel from the EII Capital Group. Today is May 22, 2011. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the futures market, where we cover everything from commodity futures to metals to natural gas to heating oil and so forth. Okay. Normal disclaimer: this is to state this is for educational use only. All charts are either in Thinkorswim, TradeStation, or FreeStockCharts.com, and the music that you're hearing in the background is from Kitaro. Here are my contact details. You can email me here. You can access our website here to access any of the free videos that we have available, or you can follow us on Twitter at Ichimoku Trading. Okay, so we got a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and jump straight in and go straight to the charts as we normally do every week, if I can find them. Remember, left hand side is the weekly time frame, right hand side is the daily time frame. Okay, we're going to start off by going through cocoa futures. If you look at cocoa futures, still in the cloud here, consolidating, but this is setting up for weekly, maybe start bearish trending, but nothing yet until it breaks below this level here of about 2,800. So nothing really there you could see there, but it is starting to turn bearish now for the cocoa futures, and possibly can start entering a trend sooner or later on a weekly time frame. If you look at the daily time frame here, it's broken here, this last pivot here, but remember, this is not a confirmation that this is now bearish trending at all. You got to see some follow-up action on the next trading day to continue to going down. However, all the indicators are very strong, momentum strong, so this does look like it's going to try to get to at least 2,800 moving forward. Well, I'm sorry about that. So it does look like it's going to at least get to 2836 and possibly get to 2800 very soon. The momentum here is strong, but definitely require the next trading day to follow through in order to keep on going. Light sweet crude oil, if you look at it, it was bullish trending. It entered a pullback to a medium. It's still been holding this 97.58 level, very, very strong. It's got to break below the 97.58 in order to enter a major pullback as far as the weekly long-term picture is concerned. If it breaks 104.73, then this thing looks like it's going to go retest the highs and possibly can break through. But right now, that doesn't look feasible yet. But you know, so you got to wait and see which level is going to be broken. Remember, a couple of times it went below the 97.56, but at the end of the day, it still closed above it. So you're kind of waiting for a close below the 97.56 to sit there and hold for at least a day or two before you could sit there and say, okay, this thing's over. If you look at the daily time frame here, that was the weekly, remember. On the daily time frame here, this thing is just consolidating right now in a range between the two ranges that we talked about. And if you look at the bottom of if you just take the lows here, that's about $95 a crude oil barrel, and the 104.73. So it's got to sit there and break either way. Right now, the daily is sitting there being bearish. A little more tilt to the bearish, even though price is in the cloud. However, if this thing does not start breaking down at all, this thing's going to start weighing a little more to the bullish side at all. And just be careful. Remember, Memorial Day weekend's coming up, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens with that this week. Cotton futures, if you look at it, bullish trending on the weekly time frame, entered a major pullback right now. Resistance level is going to be 165.42, and you know, remember, it's in a pullback, doesn't mean it's a trend reversal as of yet. So if you look at the daily time frame, this was trending down. Tickets in Cajun are coming here, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But if this thing gets above 165.42, then you going to probably start looking for bullish setups possibly going forward, but it definitely has to break above 178.56 to even look at bullish. But you know, we're going to start looking at it once it breaks 165.42 to the top side, and of course to the bottom side you want to start looking at it once it breaks 140 on a pullback. But remember, this thing's been pulling back for such a long time. I would not sit there and try to short this at all right now until you know that the trend on the weekly time frame is completely over. Okay, US dollar index, if you look at it on the weekly time frame, this is bearish trending. It's in a pullback right now. It's a minor pullback. Support resistance is going to be 77.24. We got to wait and see what happens. on the weekly time frame. If you look at the daily time frame here, definitely sits there. If it breaks the 76.19, it's definitely going to get to 77.24 and possibly can go above that too now, all the way about to about 79 or so forth there. But that is setting up here on the daily time frame. Things are starting to look a little more bullish, even though it's below the cloud. It's starting to get momentum to start breaking through the cloud. Remember, this cloud is thin too, so it could break through there. So just be very careful there. Wait for your levels to come, and then you could go from there. Let's go look at feeder cattle. Feeder cattle, you could tell, was bullish trending on the weekly time frame. Finally has entered a pullback. It's under a major pullback now, which you could see here in the daily time frame. I would not trade this bearish at all in the daily time frame until it pulls back at least. It's got if it could pull back to 129.86 and hold and then go down, that'll be ideal. But definitely it's entering a major pullback now on the daily time frame, which is a bearish trend on the daily. Okay. Let's see if all the other meat futures are going to be the same way. If you look at lean hogs, it does not sit there and pull back that much yet. In fact, it still is in a major trend going up. It's got to break 85.90 to sit there and say, okay, it's entering a major pullback. And you could see that from the daily time frame too. So lean hogs is definitely stronger as far as bullish is concerned compared to feeder cattle. Okay, let's go look at copper. Copper, if you could see, it was bullish trending, a little top heavy here, consolidating, came down here, pulled back up, it hit its major resistance level, and the key thing is, what's it going to do this week now? You could see it's at a resistance level right now. Key is, what's it going to do here? If it breaks down below 4, then this thing's going to go down even further, go all the way down to 3.684. If it starts going up, it's got to break above 4.193, and then it could possibly go retest the highs again. But it's at key levels right now, so we got to wait and see what happens around these levels. Heating oil, you could see it's in a bullish trend right now. It's been holding its major support at 2.779. Its resistance level is 3.0498. So nothing really there until it could break one of those two. If you look at the daily time frame, just hovering around here, it really hasn't broken down at all. The more it just sits there and consolidates, the more it gives them momentum back to the bulls, where it's going to retest the highs and continue to go back up. Okay, coffee. If you look at coffee, it's pulling back right now. Not even a major pullback at all. Major support level is going to be at 253.95, and you could see here from the daily time frame, it's trying to break down here, but you still have some conflict here. So it definitely looks like it's going to get to about 253.95. At that point, what's it going to do is a major question. Hopefully, it'll break down below that and enter its first major pullback, because if it does, then it's going to be very healthy. So if you're going to look at something, this is definitely one on a daily time frame. You could probably bet on it going down. Just be careful, wait for a pullback up, and then sit there and get in. If it could pull back to 274.52 and get in at shorting in that, then I would sit there and get in, but it's got to hold at that level. Lumber, if you look at lumber, it's now bearish trending. Well, it's bearish as far as the weekly time frame is concerned. The trend is very weak, so nothing really there. And you can see from the daily time frame, it's just consolidating here. Momentum from the bears are basically dying right now. This thing's got to break down in order for the momentum to continue. Resistance level is going to be 263.30, and support level is going to be 220. Live cattle. If you look at this is breaking down even more than the feeder cattle that we looked at before, but definitely entering major pullback here on the weekly, which you could see is a bearish trend on the daily. But it is overextended now, so this thing definitely needs to pull back up, equalize some. So if it could sit there and go up to about 107 or 111, ideally, hold there and then tank again, that's probably the best scenario that could happen for that one. Natural gas. You could see from the weekly time frame just going back and forth, nothing really there, no trends at all existing there. If you shrink this down, look at this, nothing really there. It's just tightening on a weekly basis. This thing's going to explode one way or another sooner or later. If you look at the daily time frame, you really have no clue which way this thing's going to go. To look at it even bullish at all, you have to wait for it to break 4.396, and for bearish, it's got to break below 4.10 to even start looking at opportunities for that one. Frozen concentrate orange juice, bullish trending on the weekly time frame. You can see that from the daily time frame too. Not a great looking chart, but still there. Palladium, bullish trending. It's under a major pullback right now. It's trying to go up, and it's got to hold the 747.88, which is a major resistance level. If it does, and then breaks down below 718.25, it's going to keep on going down. Start a bearish trend on the daily, which would be a major pullback on the weekly. Platinum, just kind of hanging around, not really doing anything. It's at a major support level right now at 1760.10. It's got to break the resistance level 1820 to resume its bullish trend going up. We've gone through those. Gasoline, let's go look at that one. Gasoline finally entering a major pullback right now on the weekly time frame. Support levels $2.75 a gallon. And you could see from the daily time frame here, it's trying to break down here, but it's at a key level now. It's got to break this level here of $2.84 in order to go to $2.75. If it breaks to $3.11, then it can sit there, go retest the highs, and possibly break past that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially when Memorial Day weekend here, what will happen in gasoline futures and what that relates to at the pump. Sugar, you could see here was bullish trending, enter a major pullback here, looking like it's going up here. It's pulling back. It's trying to at least get to 24.30, and that's going to be a key level. What's going to happen there? And you could see that reflected here on the daily time frame, which was being bearish trending for a while. And now it needs to equalize, so he's probably entering a major pullback on the daily time frame, which is just pulling back on the weekly. Silver, magical silver. Everyone, I think there's mixed feelings on silver right now. If you look at silver, really on the weekly time frame, still it's on the major pullback. There's no confirmation that the major pullback is over as of yet. If you look at the daily time frame here, just consolidating here, its minor resistance levels are 35.88 and major is going to be 41.06. So those are the levels you have to wait for it to break. Okay. Gold. Look at gold. Nice compared to silver, isn't it, on the weekly? Gold's holding its minor support of 14.93. Its major support's at 14.42. So it's just holding here and still look like it's going up. If you look at the daily time frame, it's got to break above 15.25 for us to even look at it to retest the highs of 15.75 and maybe continue to go higher. But this is a weekly time frame, still very, very strong. So only time will tell. Momentum here is weakening, so the more this consolidates, more it's going to take momentum out of the bulls and give it to the bears. We got to end this soon. 30-year Treasury bonds. If you look here in the 30-year Treasury bonds, it's still bearish here. It's trying to go bullish here. Bonds have to go down some. Major supports levels at 122.30, and it's got to sit there and hold there and then keep on going up. If you look at the daily time frame, it's bullish trending, weakening a little right now, so it's going to enter a little pullback. So if it could sit there and pull back to about 122.30 and then start going up, this thing's going to be a nice healthy trend, which can sit there and turn things around on a weekly time frame, but it requires a lot to move forward. Corn still bullish trending on the weekly time frame. Nothing really to talk about there. And then let's go to oats. Oats, really nothing to talk about here. On a major pullback here, it still has nothing to do. It's holding here. This resistance level at 271.81, and its support level is going to be at 255. So time will tell with that one. Soybean. Soybean is bullish trending. It's still sitting there right at major support right now and holding. As you could see from the daily time frame, it's just going back and forth. So there's nothing really there. And wheat, nothing really there either. It's just consolidating. Hope you enjoyed this week. I'll speak to you.